How are you? Happy Monday. I'm so happy you're here today. We're going to talk about creativity. Could you use some more creativity? Not just in maybe writing or podcasting or whatever you want to do, but just in your life. Because as I say, the way you do one thing is how you do everything. And I can tell you that the same thing that allows me to get creative in so many different areas like this right now, and helping coaching people and coming up with ideas that will change lives, it's all about being creative, and it is the same thought process. So I'll go over that today and tell you how I learned it, tell you how I use it every single day, and you're going to be able to use it at the end of this show, I promise. Here we go. It is the daily boost from motivationtomove.com, the positive boost you need every single day. And happy to have you here today. By the way, my daughter and my son-in-law, Carlin and Joel, are, as I speak right now, in Chiang Mai, Thailand, on a church mission trip. And so the two grandkids, the boys that live in town here, and the dog and the cat are staying with us. And they've been here for about 8 days now. And the sound you hear in my voice is what happens when you bring kids into the house and then go do kid things with other kids. They have this amazing ability to give you a cold and stuff. So here I am today. If I sound a little sloppy, now you know why. I'm being G-Paw. Hey, it's good to have you. My name is Scott Smith. I'm the founder and the Chief Motivating Officer here at motivationtomove.com. And today it's going to be kind of cool. This creative thing is really neat. The number one question that I always get, by far, the number one question I get is, how do you come up with a podcast every single day? We're in our 17th season, every single day for 17 years. I've done well over 12,000 podcasts. And I get this question several times a week. And people are like, I don't even know how you do it. I couldn't do 3. I couldn't do 4. And I've done, at this point, well over 12,000. It's a neat topic. I learned a very simple trick years and years ago. A lot of broadcast people know this, but I'm going to teach it to you today. And you can use it for anything, including motivating yourself. So before you run off thinking, hey, it's a show about creativity, not motivation, hang in there. Because in almost every single coaching call that I do or group coaching that I get into, usually what happens is people are stuck. They can't figure something out. They feel stuck, out of control. You ever feel that way? So the way to get out of that is to creatively get out of that. So what I'll talk about today will teach you to motivate yourself to be more creative with a blog post or with a book or whatever you want to do. It doesn't really matter. So hang on for the ride. Before I start, it is Monday, so I start by asking the very simple question, have you done your homework? The question that goes along with the homework that you must answer today is, how's your life going? It's very simple. If it's going really well, look around for ways to defend it and make sure it keeps going well. It will change if you ignore it. Think about right now, a time in the past when something was going so well and you just kind of took it for granted and suddenly it changed. It's just life. It's not you. It just happens. But think about it today. What if stuff is not going so well for you right now? Maybe the creativeness that you learn on the show today will teach you how to pull out of that, decide how to get rid of the bad stuff. The bottom line is this: if you take 2 or 3 minutes at the end of this program and simply ask yourself, how's my life going? And be willing to answer the questions and the answers that come surging into your mind afterwards. Listen for them. Almost automatically, without doing a thing, you'll start to transform every single aspect of your life. Do your homework. So, how to be endlessly creative. Would you like to be endlessly creative? Okay, like I said a little bit earlier, I have 12,000 plus podcasts. I used to produce 16 podcasts a week, produced, voiced the whole thing. I did it for years and years and years. They were all short, daily 9-minute shows, but I did 16 a week. Well in excess of 12,000 podcasts. Every single one started with a written word. It started with an idea that I caught and captured someplace and was able to get out of me somehow. So if you're like most people, often you'll find yourself sitting in front of a blank computer screen looking for a starter thought. I rarely need a template. I rarely need somebody to say, give me something, a structure, or anything like that to get me started. I just don't need that because I have this other tool I'll teach you today when I can sit down. I don't need it. I have endless creativity, and you're going to get it right now. I'll get to it. Here we go. So if you have writer's block or procrastination, don't worry about it. So here's how I do it. It all started probably 40 years ago. Long time ago. I was coming out of high school and I was going into radio. And I was working 5 or 6 days a week in the radio show. And it would do anywhere from 4 to 6 hours a day. That's what they do in old-time radio. Lock you in a studio in a rubber room for a while, talk to yourself. Well, what happened was, with all that time on the air, it was impossible to spend all the time being creative. And you couldn't just make it up because the boss was always saying, did you do your show prep? I'm thinking, when did I have time to do my show prep? Takes an hour per hour, an hour off the air to be an hour on the air is what they say. How could you do that? I couldn't spend 12 hours a day prepping, so I began to learn what other people learn that are in the broadcast industry, and that is I pay attention to everything. So I practice here what I call observational motivation. It's my style, it's what I do, and what that means is this. I could care less what the books say, what the people say, it doesn't matter to me. I observe what works. When I find out what works, I try it, it motivates me, off I go. So what you get on this show is observational motivation. I have looked for what works, and I put it out there for you so you can use it as well. I did the same thing in radio. I would pay attention. I'd drive down the road and notice the grass wasn't quite as green as it was yesterday. I noticed a stop sign was pushed over. I noticed a new movie is going to play. I noticed there's a new restaurant in town. Might hear a song on the radio. Somebody may say something. I hear it coming down the hall. Any possible thing that came into my mind throughout the day, tens of thousands of ideas, drifting in and out of my ears all day long, yours too. I simply paid attention to them. And little by little, throughout the course of the day, I picked up enough stuff to fill any show I was going to be on for the entire week. It didn't matter. And that's exactly how you should do things now. So if you have a challenge going on in your life, you can't quite figure out what to do about it, go outside of yourself. Don't try to think it through within yourself. You might not have the answers. Step outside, listen to what's going on, watch what's going on, read a book, watch a movie, go drive around town, doesn't matter. Open up and pay attention to this treasure trove of ideas. Now, one thing I can suggest to you if you really want to do this is you have to capture the idea. One of the best ways to capture the ideas is not to sit down behind a computer and try to capture it. One of the better ways is to go take a shower, go take a walk, go take a drive. You ever notice how many ideas come out of you when you take a drive? Take your tape recorder, hit the road. About a 20-minute drive, you can fill up a week worth of creativity. So don't try to force it. So if you're having trouble with anything, it could be relationships, it could be writing a book, it doesn't matter. Get away from the thinking brain and get to the default brain, which means open up and let your brain make connections. That's what the default brain is. When you're not focusing on something, your brain is looking at everything going around it, making connections, trying to figure out what that means and what this means. It's talking to your long-term memory and your short-term memory. It's just kind of relaxed. It's like sitting at the beach and you're not thinking about anything. And one day you say, oh, well, look, there's a bird out there. Boom, brain put it together. So here's what you do. You break away and you open up to everything. You pay attention to it and just absorb the ideas. And as these little nuggets pop into your brain, you tuck them away in a safe place. Now, I have a little program I use on my iPhone. I did Asana. I hit a button, I type it in, and it disappears. It's gone, but I know where it is. I know where I can find it. So later on, say it's at the end of the week, it's time for me to record a podcast. I need to come up with some cool ideas, not just 5 titles, but a whole bunch of stuff to talk about during the podcast that you might be interested in. I've listened to hundreds of people throughout the week, hundreds of people in person. I've talked to them. I've had conversations all week long. I've gathered all these ideas, but I forgot about them, didn't I? Yeah, I did. But I captured them. So I go back and I say, oh, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. That's a good idea. I take the ideas I like and I put them on another piece of paper. I transfer them to another document, from a raw idea to a document, and then I walk away from it. That's it. When I come back the next day and I'm ready to get to work, I right then and there have 1,000 ideas ready to go, most of them pretty good. How did I get them? Did I sit down and be creative? Did I go Google? Did I get on ChatGPT to do it? No. I simply did what we all should do. Observe the world. It's a beautiful place. And it's got tons of ideas for you. Anybody who does creativity for a living, a lot of you songwriters out there, a lot of you novel writers out there know full well that your best ideas are coming when you're tripping across the parking lot in the middle of winter, thinking, what am I doing out in the snowstorm? And suddenly, wow, that little puddle just gave me an idea. Why I mentioned a snowstorm in the middle of summer, I have no idea. But maybe it's that cold I am. Creativity. Use it any way you can, but make it easy on yourself, okay? Oh, hang on. Let me push this button here. It didn't work. There we go. We've been updating our studios here again, and some things broke last week. Do me a favor. If you have any questions on creativity, send me a note. Just go to support@motivationtomove.com. You can reach me there. If you want to chat with me in person, a lot of stuff happening in my Facebook page, dailyboostpodcast.com/Facebook. Love to have you there. It's growing every single day. A lot of good people there, keeping the ball bouncing, and I help too. It's a lot of fun. If you like this show and the commercial-free version of this show and the emails and all the other things that I do, including the Boost coaching call like we did last week, it was awesome. Just go to dailyboostpremium.com, get all that goodness. Plus, we'll see you on the next Boost coaching call. In the meantime, since I've been sick, I have no idea what's coming up tomorrow. Not at all, but it's going to be pretty darn good. If you have any ideas, send me a note. Maybe I'll do yours too. But I can promise you this. In our 17th season, I'll be back. I'm just going to keep on coming back.